Qur'an translation from Ali Ünal. Audio prepared by Respect Graduate School. Verse 28. We did not send down upon his people after him any hosts of angels from heaven to destroy them. It is not our way to send down such. Verse 29. It was but a single blast only, and see, they were extinguished. Verse 30. Ah, alas for the servants of God who fail to serve him. Every time there has come to them a messenger, they have but mocked him. Verse 31. Have they not considered how many a generation we have destroyed before them? They never return to them, nor to their life of the world. Verse 32. Instead, every generation, all without exception, will be arraigned before us for judgment. Verse 33. A clear sign for them of God's oneness and lordship is the dead earth. We revive it and bring forth from it grain, and, following the necessary preparatory processes, they eat of it. Verse 34. And we have set therein gardens of palms and vines, and we have caused springs to gush forth in it. Verse 35. So that they may eat of the fruit of all that he produces, and they did not make it with their own hands. Will they not then give thanks? Verse 36. All glorified is he, in that he is absolutely exalted above having any peer or partner, who has created the pairs altogether out of what the earth produces, as well as out of themselves, and out of what they do not know. Verse 37. Another clear sign for them is the night. We withdraw the day from it, and see, they are plunged in darkness. Verse 38. And the sun runs the course appointed for it for a term to its resting place for the stability of its system. This is the measure determining of the all-glorious with irresistible might, to whose omnipotent ordering the whole universe is submitted, the all-knowing. Verse 39. And for the moon, we have determined mansions till it returns, like an old shriveled palm leaf. Verse 40. It is not for the sun to overtake the moon, nor does the night outstrip the day. All the celestial bodies and systems float in an orbit determined for each. Verse 41. Another sign for them is that we bear their generations on the ship laden with them and their cargo, and yet sustained in the water without sinking. Verse 42. And we have created for them the like of it for land travel, on which they ride. Verse 43. If we will, we cause them to drown, and there is no help for them against our will, nor can they be saved from drowning. Verse 44. Unless by a mercy from us and our allowing them to enjoy life for some time more until a term determined. Verse 45. When they are told, beware of and guard against what lies before you and what lies behind you, of unforgivable sins and punishment they will bring in the world or the hereafter, and brought about in the past when committed by former peoples, so that you may be shown mercy, a good, virtuous life in the world, and eternal happiness in the hereafter. Verse 46. Yet there does not come to them a clear sign from among the signs of their Lord, a revelation from among his revelations, but they turn away from it, being averse to the admonition given therein. Verse 47. And when they are told, spend for the needy out of what God has provided for you, those who disbelieve say to those who believe, shall we then feed those whom God would feed if he willed? You are but in obvious error. Verse 48. And they say, intending mockery. So, when is this promise of resurrection and judgment, if you are truthful? Verse 49. They should await only a single blast that will seize them unawares, even as they are disputing heedlessly among themselves about their worldly concerns. Verse 50. Then They will not be able even to make a bequest, so suddenly will the blast seize them, nor return to their families. Verse 51. And the trumpet will be blown, and see, out of the graves they rush forth to their Lord. Verse 52. They will cry, Woe to us! Who has raised us from our place of sleep? We have come to know that. This is what the All-Merciful promised, and that the messengers spoke the truth. Verse 53. It is but one single blast. And see, they will all have been raised and arraigned together before us for judgment. Verse 54. On that day, no soul will be wronged in the least, and you will not be recompensed for anything but what you used to do. Verse 55. Surely the companions of paradise will on that day be in happy occupations, enjoying the blessings of paradise that God will grant them abundantly out of His grace in return for their good deeds. Verse 56. They and their spouses are in pleasant shade, safe from any troubling weather, reclining on thrones. Verse 57. They will have therein the fruit of their good deeds in the world, and they will have whatever they call for. Verse 58. Peace is the word, of welcome for them and of safety from any trouble, from the Lord all compassionate toward His believing servants. Verse 59. And you, O disbelieving criminals, get you apart this day. Verse 60. Did I not make a covenant with you, O children of Adam, that you should not worship Satan? Indeed, he is a manifest enemy to you. Verse 61. And that you should worship me alone. This is a straight path for you to follow. Verse 62. Yet he has assuredly caused great multitudes of you to go astray. Should you not reason and take heed? Verse 63. This is hell, with which you are threatened repeatedly. Verse 64. Enter it this day, to roast because you persistently disbelieved. Verse 65. That day, we will set a seal upon their mouths, and their hands will speak to us, and their feet will bear witness to what they earned in the world. Verse 66. If we had so willed, we could certainly have blotted out their eyes, and they would rush around for the right path. How then would they be able to see their way? Verse 67. If we had so willed, we could have fixed them in their places, immobilized where they are, unable to go forward or turn back. Verse 68. Whomever we cause to live long, we may also reverse him in nature, so that he returns to weakness after strength, to ignorance after knowledge, to forgetting after remembering. So will they not reason and take heed? Verse 69. We have not taught him, the messenger, poetry. Further, it is not seemly for him. This is but a reminder, teaching and admonishing, a Qur'an recited and conveyed from God, clear in itself and clearly showing the truth. Verse 70. So that the messenger may warn with it those who are truly alive, and so can reason and see and hear the truth, and that the word of divine judgment, after evidence and admonition, may be completed against the unbelievers. Verse 71. Have they not considered how, as signs of our lordship, out of what our hands have originated and fashioned, we have created for them cattle, and so they are their owners? Verse 72. We have subdued them to them, so that among them they find their mounts, and from them they obtain food. Verse 73. And they have many other benefits in them and diverse things to drink. Will they not then give thanks? Verse 74. Yet they have taken deities for worship apart from God, expecting that they may receive help from them. Verse 75. They, the false deities, are unable to help them. Rather they, the worshippers, are a supportive host for them, the false deities, and all will be arraigned for punishment on the day of judgment. Verse 76. So do not let their slanderous words against God and you grieve you, O messenger. Surely we know whatever they keep concealed of speech or deeds, and whatever they disclose. Verse 77. Has human not considered that we have created him from so slight a beginning as a drop of seminal fluid? Yet he turns into an open, fierce adversary, selfishly disputing against the truth. Verse 78. And he coins a comparison for us, having forgotten his own origin and creation, saying, who will give life to these bones when they have rotten away? Verse 79. Say, he who produced them in the first instance will give them life. He has full knowledge of every form and mode and possibility of creation, and of everything he has created. He knows every detail in every dimension of time and space. Verse 80. He who has made for you fire from the green tree, and see, you kindle fire with it. Verse 81. Is not he who has created the heavens and the earth able to create from rotten bones the like of them, whose bones have rotted under the ground? Surely he is. He is the supreme creator, the all-knowing. Verse 82. When he wills a thing to be, he but says to it, be, and, in the selfsame instant, it is. Verse 83. So, all glorified is he, in whose hand is the absolute dominion of all things, and to him you are being brought back. Surah 37. As Safat, those ranging in ranks. Verse 1. By those, the angels, who align themselves in ranks. Verse 2. Some, driving away with reproof. Verse 3. And others, reciting the reminder revealed from God. Verse 4. Most surely your Lord is one. Verse 5. The Lord of the heavens and the earth, and all that is between them, and the Lord of all the easts. Verse 6. We have indeed adorned the lowest heaven, the heaven of the world, with an ornament, the stars. Verse 7. And for guard against every devil persistent in haughty rebellion. Verse 8. They cannot hear anything from the high assembly of the angels, and, whenever they attempt to hear, become targets of missiles from all directions. Verse 9. Repelled, and for them is a perpetual punishment. Verse 10. Excepting one who snatches something by stealth and is pursued and destroyed by a piercing shooting star. Verse 11. So ask them, the polytheists, are they more formidable in structure, or those that we have created, the heavens and the angels in them? Indeed, we have created them, human beings, from a sticky clay. Verse 12. You find all God's acts wonderful, and their denial strange, but they continue to mock God's message and his messenger. Verse 13. And when they are reminded of divine truths and admonished by his revelations, they pay no heed. Verse 14. When they see an extraordinary evidence of the truth, a miracle, they take it in mockery and call others to do the same. Verse 15. And they say, this is clearly nothing but sorcery. Verse 16. What? After we have died and become dust and bones, will we then be raised from the dead? Verse 17. And also our forefathers of old? Verse 18. Say, yes, indeed, and most humiliated you will be. Verse 19. It will be only a single scaring cry, and then behold, they are staring in dread. Verse 20. And saying, woe to us, this is the day of judgment. Verse 21. And it is said, this is the day of judgment and distinction, between truth and falsehood, between the righteous and the sinful, the day that you used to deny. Verse 22. God commands the angels, gather together all those who committed the greatest wrong by obstinately associating partners with God, and their devilish comrades, and all that they used to worship, of idols, and the rebellious among humankind and jinn. Verse 23. Apart from God, and lead them to the path of the blazing flame. Verse 24. And arrest them there, for they must be questioned concerning their deeds in the world. Verse 25. But what is the matter with you that you do not help one another to escape punishment? Verse 26. Instead, on that day, they will be in utter submission, without the least sign of arrogance. Verse 27. And they turn to one another, exchanging words of blame with one another. Verse 28. They, the ones led, say to the leaders, it was you who used to come to us, affecting, pretending to be our well-wishers, and offering falsehood as truth. Verse 29. They, the leaders, say, no, rather you yourselves were not believers, with no inclination and intention to believe. Verse 30. And we had no power over you, to compel you to disbelieve. But you yourselves were a rebellious people. Verse 31. So our Lord's word of punishment has come true against us. In justice, we are bound to taste it. Verse 32. So then, though without power to compel, if we did mislead you and cause you to rebel, for surely we ourselves had been lost in error. Verse 33. So, on that day, they will be associated together in suffering the punishment. Verse 34. That is how we will deal with the disbelieving criminals. Verse 35. For when they were told that there is no deity but God, they would grow arrogant and reject it. Verse 36. And they would say, are we to give up our deities for the sake of a mad poet? Verse 37. No, rather he has brought you the truth and confirms those messengers sent before him. Verse 38. You are surely bound to taste the painful punishment on account of your attitude and actions. Verse 39. And you will not be recompensed, but for what you are doing. Verse 40. But not so God's servants endowed with sincerity and faith and practicing the religion. Verse 41. For those there is in paradise a provision specially prepared. Verse 42. Fruits as the reward of their life in the world, and they will be highly honored. Verse 43. In gardens of bounty and blessing. Verse 44. Sitting on thrones, face to face. Verse 45. A cup will be passed round among them with a drink from a pure, gushing spring. Verse 46. Clear, delightful for those who drink it. Verse 47. Free from any headiness or harm, and they will not suffer intoxication from it. Verse 48. And with them will be pure, chaste-eyed spouses, whose glances are fixed on them only, most beautiful of eye. Verse 49. As free from any ugliness, and untouched, as if they were hidden, ostrich eggs. Verse 50. They will turn to one another, indulging in friendly talk. Verse 51. One of them speaks thus, I had a close companion, verse 52, who used to ask me, are you really one of those who confirm the truth of what the messenger teaches us about the last judgment? Verse 53. Will we, when we die and have become dust and bones, will we then really be raised and put under judgment? Verse 54. He, the speaker, will say, would you like to look into hell to see him? Verse 55. He will look down and see him in the midst of the blazing flame. Verse 56. He will say, by God, you would nearly have caused me to perish. Verse 57. Had it not been for the grace of my Lord, I would certainly have been among those arraigned in the flame for punishment. Verse 58. Then, turning to his companions, he will say, "We are not to experience death anymore, are we?" Verse 59. "Except the former death that we experienced in leaving the world, and we are not to be punished." Verse 60. Then, this is most certainly the supreme triumph. Verse 61. For the like of this, then, let those who will labor to a goal labor. Verse 62. Is this what is good as a welcome, or the tree of Zaqqum? Verse 63. We have made it, that tree, a means of trial and punishment for the wrongdoers who associate partners with God. Verse 64. It is a tree growing in the heart of the blazing flame. Verse 65. Its fruits are like the heads of Satans. Verse 66. So, most surely, they will eat of it and fill up their bellies with it. Verse 67. Then, for them, will be boiling water to mix with the zaqqum in their bodies. Verse 68. And afterwards, they are bound to return to the blazing flame again. Verse 69. Assuredly, they found their forefathers on the wrong path. Verse 70. And yet, they rush after them in their footsteps. Verse 71. Indeed, most of those communities that lived before them went astray. Verse 72. Though we had sent among them warners with our guidance. Verse 73. So see how was the outcome for those who were warned, but paid no heed. Verse 74. Except God's servants, endowed with sincerity and faith, and practicing the religion. Verse 75. And Noah, just such a servant and warner, had called upon us for help, and how excellent we are in answering prayer. Verse 76. We saved him and his true followers among his family and people from the mighty distress. Verse 77. And we caused his offspring to endure on the earth. Verse 78. And we left for him among later comers, until the end of time, this greeting and remembrance of him and his message. Verse 79. Peace be upon Noah among all beings. Verse 80. Thus do we reward those devoted to doing good, as if seeing God. Verse 81. Surely he was one of our truly believing servants. Verse 82. As for the others who opposed him, we caused them to drown. Verse 83. Abraham was surely one who followed the same way as his. Verse 84. He had turned to his Lord with a heart sound and pure from any trace of insincerity of faith. Verse 85. Remember, when he said to his father and his people, "What is that you worship?" Verse 86. Is it a fabrication that you pursue, worshiping deities apart from God? Verse 87. So, what do you think about the Lord of the worlds, that you dare to do so? Verse 88. Then, when invited to participate in the religious ceremonies of the people on a festival day, he cast a glance at the stars. Verse 89. And he said, "Indeed, I am sick." Verse 90. So they, the others, turned away from him and departed. Verse 91. Thereupon, he approached their deities and said, "Will you not eat of the offerings put before you?" Verse 92. What is the matter with you that you do not speak? Verse 93. Then he fell upon them, striking them with his right hand with all his strength. Verse 94. Then the other people headed towards him hurriedly. Verse 95. He said, "Do you worship things that you yourselves have carved?" Verse 96. While it is God who has created you and all that you do? Verse 97. They consulted among themselves and said, "Build him a pyre and throw him into the blazing flames." Verse 98. So they intended a scheme against him to destroy him. but we made them the ones brought low. Verse 99. And he said, Now I am going to my Lord, to quit my homeland purely for his sake, in the full conviction that he will guide me to a land where I will be able to worship him freely. Verse 100. And he prayed, My Lord, grant me the gift of a child who will be one of the righteous. Verse 101. So we gave him the glad tidings of a boy who was to grow as one, mild and forbearing. Verse 102. Then, when his son grew alongside him to the age of striving for the necessities of life, he said, O my dear son, I have seen in my dream that I should offer you in sacrifice. So think about this and tell me your view. He said unhesitatingly, O my dear father, do as you are commanded. You will find me, by God's will, one of those who show steadfast patience in obeying God's commands. Verse 103. Then, when both had submitted to God's will, and Abraham had laid him down on the side of his forehead. Verse 104. At just that moment, we called out to him, O Abraham. Verse 105. You have already fulfilled the dream, which tested your loyal obedience to the command. So you no longer have to offer your son in sacrifice. Thus, do we reward those devoted to doing good as if seeing God. Verse 106. Behold, all this was indeed a trial, clear. Verse 107. And we ransomed him with a sacrifice tremendous in worth. Verse 108. And we left for him among later comers, until the end of time, this greeting and remembrance of him and his message. Verse 109. Peace be upon Abraham. Verse 110. Thus do we reward those devoted to doing good, as if seeing God. Verse 111. Surely he was one of our truly believing servants. Verse 112. We gave him the glad tidings of Isaac to be a prophet among the righteous. Verse 113. We showered our blessings on both him, Ishmael, and on Isaac. And among the offspring of both, there have been those devoted to doing good, aware that God is seeing them, and those who have plainly been wronging themselves by sinning. Verse 114. We assuredly bestowed our favor also upon Moses and Aaron. Verse 115. And we saved them and their people from the mighty distress of slavery and persecution. Verse 116. And we helped them, so they became the victors. Verse 117. And we granted them both, Moses and Aaron, the clear book, which explained the matters that had been secret, and which the people needed for the happiness of their life in both worlds. Verse 118. We showed them the straight path, enabling them to follow it in every matter without any deviance. Verse 119. And we left for them among later comers. Until the end of time, this greeting and remembrance of them and their message. Verse 120. Peace be upon Moses and Aaron. Verse 121. Thus do we reward those devoted to doing good, as if seeing God. Verse 122. Surely those two were among our truly believing servants. Verse 123. And surely Elijah, was one of the messengers. Verse 124. Remember, when he said to his people, Will you not keep from disobedience to God in reverence for him and piety? Verse 125. Will you continue to invoke Baal as deity and forsake the Creator who creates everything in the best and most appropriate form and has the ultimate rank of creativity? Verse 126. God, your Lord, and the Lord of your forefathers. Verse 127. But they denied him, and so they are surely bound to be arraigned for judgment. Verse 128. Except God's servants, endowed with sincerity and faith, and practicing the religion. Verse 129. And we left for him among later comers, until the end of time, this greeting and remembrance of him and his message. Verse 130. Peace be upon Ilyasin. Verse 131. Thus do we reward those devoted to doing good as if seeing God. Verse 132. Surely he was one of our truly believing servants. Verse 133. And surely Lot was one of the messengers. Verse 134. Remember, when we ordered him to leave the land of sinners and saved him and his family altogether. Verse 135. Except an old woman among those who stayed behind. Verse 136. Then we annihilated the others. Verse 137. Indeed, you pass by them, the ruins of their dwellings, at morning time, during your travels for trade. Verse 138. And by night. Will you not then use your reason and take heed? Verse 139. And surely Jonah was one of the messengers. Verse 140. Remember, when he left like a runaway slave for a ship fully laden. Verse 141. And then he agreed to cast lots, and he was one of those who lost. Verse 142. They threw him into the sea, and the big fish swallowed him, while he was accused by his conscience. Verse 143. Had it not been that he was one who always glorified God, declaring him absolutely above having any defects and partners. Verse 144. He would certainly have remained in its belly, serving as his grave, until the day when all will be raised from the dead. Verse 145. But we caused him to be cast forth on a desert shore, sick as he was. Verse 146. And caused a gourd plant to grow over him. Verse 147. And we sent him once again to his people, numbering 100,000. Rather, they tended to increase. Verse 148. And they believed in him this time, and so, sparing them, we allowed them to enjoy life for a term allotted to them. Verse 149. So ask them, O messenger, whether your Lord has daughters, while sons are allotted for them? Verse 150. Or that we created the angels female, and they were witnesses? Verse 151. Beware. It is surely one of their fabrications that they say. Verse 152. God has begotten. Most certainly they are liars. Verse 153. He has made gender discrimination and so chosen daughters in preference to sons. Has he? Verse 154. What is the matter with you? How can you judge so? Verse 155. Will you not still reflect and be mindful? Verse 156. Or do you have a clear authority of evidence? Verse 157. If so, produce your book, which, if you are truthful in your claim, must have come from God. Verse 158. And they have concocted a kin relationship between him and the jinn to excuse their worshipping the jinn, whereas the jinn know quite well that they are created and sustained by God and are bound to be arraigned before him for judgment. Verse 159. All glorified is he, absolutely exalted above such as they attribute to him. Verse 160. But God's servants endowed with sincerity and faith, and practicing the religion, do not do so. Verse 161. For sure you and those that you worship. Verse 162. Cannot cause any to deviate concerning God. Verse 163. Except those who have willfully adopted the way to the blazing flame. Verse 164. The angels whom they assert to be God's daughters say, there is none among us, but has his duty and position assigned. Verse 165. And surely we are those ranged in ranks, ever expecting God's commands. Verse 166. And most certainly, we are the ones glorifying him, declaring him to be above having any defects and partners. Verse 167. They, the polytheists, surely used to say, verse 168. If only we had had a reminder of the like those who lived before us had. Verse 169. Then we would certainly have been God's servants, endowed with sincerity and faith, and practicing the religion. Verse 170. Yet, now the Qur'an has come to them, they disbelieve in it. So they will come to know. Verse 171. Indeed, our word of promise has already gone forth in respect of our servants, sent with our message of guidance and warning. Verse 172. That they would surely be helped to victory. Verse 173. And that surely our host, the host of the true believers, they are certainly the victors. Verse 174. So turn aside from them for a little while. Do not care what they do and say. Verse 175. And watch them and see to what end their denial will lead them, as they also will see it. Verse 176. Or do they seek to hasten on our punishment, that it befall them immediately? Verse 177. But when it descends encompassing them, then evil will be the mourning of those who have been warned. Verse 178. And ignore what they say and do for a little while. Verse 179. And watch them and see what the ultimate end of all people will be, as they also will see it. Verse 180. All glorified is your Lord, the Lord of might and glory, exalted above all that they attribute to him. Verse 181. And peace be upon the messengers. Verse 182. And all praise and gratitude are for God, the Lord of the worlds. Surah 38. Sad. Verse 1. Sad, I swear, by the glorious Qur'an bearing the reminder, with guidance to the truth and warning, that you are one who has been sent to convey God's religion. Verse 2. However, those who disbelieve are lost in self-glory and opposition. Verse 3. We destroyed before them many generations, who likewise willfully persisted in unbelief and opposition. In the end, they called out for help, but only when it was too late for the punishment they had earned to be canceled. Verse 4. They deem it strange that a warner from among them has come to them, and the unbelievers say, this man is but a sorcerer, a fraud, who makes fabrications in attribution to God. Verse 5. What? Has he made all the deities into one God? This is a very strange thing indeed. Verse 6. The leaders among them went about inciting one another. Move on and remain constant to your deities. Surely that, to which this man calls, is the very thing that is certainly intended, deliberately plotted by him and those who follow him. Verse 7. We have not heard of this in recent ways of faith. This is surely nothing but a concoction. Verse 8. From among all of us, has the reminder been sent down on him? No. Rather, on account of their self-glory, they are lost in doubts concerning my reminder. No, indeed. They have not yet tasted my punishment, so that they might abandon their arrogance and recognize the truth. Verse 9. Or do they own and control the treasures of the mercy of your Lord, the all-glorious with irresistible might, the all-bestowing, that they presume to object to your being chosen as the messenger? Verse 10. Or do they own the sovereignty of the heavens and the earth and all that is between them? Then let them ascend to the heavens by ropes and see if they can prevent the message from being sent to you. Verse 11. They are no more than a routed band of disunited parties there, awaiting a defeat as certain as the defeat of the hordes of old times who rejected the messengers and were utterly abased. Verse 12. Before them the people of Noah denied their messenger, and the Ad and the Pharaoh with formidable strongholds. Verse 13. And also the Thamud, and the people of Lot, and the people Al-Aika. Those are the hordes of old times. Verse 14. Not one of them but denied the messengers sent to them, and therefore my retribution was their just, inevitable due. Verse 15. These wait but for a single blast, which will tolerate no delay to give them respite. Verse 16. Yet they say, Our Lord, hasten unto us our share before the day of reckoning. Verse 17. Bear patiently all that they say, and remember our servant David, powerful in his glorification of God, in knowledge, in kingdom, and in fighting. Surely he was one ever turning to God in penitence. Verse 18. We subdued the mountains to glorify their Lord, along with him in the afternoon and bright morning. Verse 19. And the birds assembled, all were turned to him in devotion and glorification. Verse 20. We strengthened his kingdom and granted him wisdom and decisive speech, to inform and convince and lead. Verse 21. Now, has the report of the litigants come to you when they climbed over the wall into the royal chamber? Verse 22. When they entered in upon David, and so he was taken aback by them. They said, Do not be alarmed. We are two litigating parties. One party trespassed against the right of the other. So judge between us with truth. Do not be unjust, and guide us to the level path. Verse 23. One of them explained the case. This is my brother. He has 99 ewes, and I have but one. Then he said, Make it over to me. And he overpowered me in force of speech. Verse 24. David said, He has undoubtedly wronged you in demanding your single ewe to add to his own ewes. Truly many are the partners in business who trespass against the right of one another, except such as believe and do good, righteous deeds, and how few they are. David came to understand that we had tried him, so he appealed to his Lord for forgiveness, and fell down in prostration and turned to God in contrition. Verse 25. So we forgave him that. Indeed, he enjoyed nearness to us, and an excellent place of final return. Verse 26. O David, we have appointed you a vicegerent in the land to rule according to our commandments. So judge among people with the truth, and do not follow personal inclination, lest it leads you astray from the path of God. Surely, those who wander astray from God's path, for them there is a severe punishment, because they have forgotten the day of reckoning. Verse 27. We have not created the heavens and the earth, and all that is between them in vain, so that people should think themselves at liberty to act each according to his own desires and inclinations. That is the mere conjecture of those who disbelieve. Woe to those who disbelieve because of the fire. Verse 28. Or do they think that we treat those who believe and do good, righteous deeds the same as those who provoke disorder and corruption on earth, or that we treat the pious, God-revering ones the same as the shameless, dissolute ones. Verse 29. This is a book which we send down to you, full of blessings, so that they, all conscious, responsible beings, may ponder its verses, and that the people of discernment may reflect on it and be mindful. Verse 30. We granted to David, who was perfectly righteous in his caliphate, Solomon. How excellent a servant Solomon was! Surely he was one ever turning to God in penitence. Verse 31. Once in the afternoon, there were brought before him nobly bred horses, trained for fighting in God's cause, steady when standing, swift when running. Verse 32. Having watched them for some time, thought he said, Indeed, my love for these horses is not on their own behalf, but because they serve for the remembrance of my Lord and conveying his name to other lands. And the horses were hidden by the veil of distance. Verse 33. He commanded, Bring them back to me. Then he rubbed down their legs and their necks. Verse 34. Indeed, we tried Solomon and placed a lifeless body upon his throne. Afterwards he turned to God in contrition. Verse 35. He prayed, My Lord, forgive me, and bestow on me a kingdom which will not suit anyone after me. Surely you are the all-bestowing. Verse 36. We accepted his prayer and subdued the wind to his service, so that it coursed gently by his command wherever he willed. Verse 37. And of the Satans, devils, we made subservient to him, every builder on earth and diver, to extract precious stones from the sea. Verse 38. And others of the rebellious jinn, linked together in fetters. Verse 39. This is our gift, so either bestow from it or withhold from it, without reckoning, that it may diminish or that you will be held to account for it. Verse 40. Surely he enjoyed nearness to us and an excellent place of final return. Verse 41. And remember our servant Job, when he called out to his Lord, Surely Satan has caused me to be afflicted with distress and great suffering. Verse 42. We told him, Strike the ground with your foot. Here's cool water to wash with and to drink. Verse 43. We granted him his household and the like thereof, along with them as a mercy from us, and as a reminder, with guidance and instruction, for the people of discernment. Verse 44. We also told him, Take in your hand a bundle of rushes and strike with it. Do not break your oath. Surely we found him full of patience and constancy. How excellent a servant! He was surely one ever turning to God in penitence. Verse 45. And remember our servants Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, endowed with power, in obedience to God and doing good deeds, and insight to discern the truth in things and events. Verse 46. We made them perfectly pure and sincere by virtue of a characteristic most pure, their constant remembrance of the abode, of the hereafter. Verse 47. They are in our sight among the perfectly purified chosen ones, the truly good. Verse 48. And also remember Ishmael and Al-Yasa'ah, Isaiah, and Dul Kifl. Every one of them is of the truly good. Verse 49. All this is a remembrance of the excellence of those we have mentioned, and an instruction for people. For the God-revering pious, there is an excellent abode of return. Verse 50. Gardens of perpetual bliss, whose gates are wide open to them. Verse 51. In which they will recline on thrones, calling therein for many a fruit and drink. Verse 52. And with them will be pure, chaste-eyed spouses, well matched, whose glances are fixed on them only. Verse 53. This is what you are promised for the day of reckoning. Verse 54. This is certainly our provision for you, with no diminishing nor end in it. Verse 55. All this for the God-revering pious, but for the rebellious is an evil abode of return. Verse 56. Hell, where they will enter to roast, how evil a cradle. Verse 57. This, then, is for them. So let them taste it. Boil in water an intensely cold, dark fluid. Verse 58. And paired with that, another torment of similar nature. Verse 59. O rebellious ones! Here is the crowd of people who rushed blindly into sin in your company, while in the world, and now they will rush into the fire together with you. The rebellious ones cry out, no welcome for them. They will indeed enter the fire to roast. Verse 60. They, who had blindly followed, say, no, rather for you, there is no welcome for you. It is you who forwarded this for us, from the world. Then, how evil a place to abide in. Verse 61. And they say, in supplication, our Lord, whoever forwarded this for us, increase him in punishment, doubled in the fire. Verse 62. And the rebellious ones say, what is it with us that we cannot see the men, the poor and weak believers, whom we used to count among the wicked? Verse 63. Whom we used to take in mockery? Or is it that they are here with us, but our eyes have missed them, just as we turned our eyes from them in contempt in the world? Verse 64. Such will in truth be the mutual wrangling of the people of the fire. Verse 65. Say, I am but a warner. There is no deity save God, the one, with no one and nothing like or comparable to him, the all-overwhelming, with absolute sway over all that exists. Verse 66. The Lord of the heavens and the earth and all that is between them, the all-glorious with irresistible might, the all-forgiving. Verse 67. Say, this Qur'an is a supreme message. Verse 68. You turn away from it in aversion. Verse 69. I had no knowledge of the high assembly in the heavens when they were arguing. Verse 70. I follow only what is revealed to me, and it is revealed to me that I am but a plain warner. Verse 71. Remember, when your Lord said to the angels, I am creating a mortal out of clay, to set him on the earth as vicegerent. Verse 72. When I have fashioned him fully and breathed into him out of my spirit, then fall down prostrating before him, as a sign of respect for him and his superiority. Verse 73. So the angels prostrated, all of them together. Verse 74. But Iblis did not, in defiance of God's explicit order to him. He grew arrogant and displayed himself as an unbeliever. Verse 75. God said, O Iblis, what prevents you from prostrating before the being whom I have created with my two hands? Are you too proud to bow down before any created being in defiance of my command? Or are you of those who think themselves so high in honor that they cannot be ordered to prostrate before anyone? Verse 76. Iblis answered, I am better than him. You have created me from fire, and him you have created from clay. Verse 77. God said, then get you down out of it. Surely you are one eternally rejected from my mercy. Verse 78. And my curse is on you until the day of judgment. Verse 79. He said, my Lord, grant me respite till the day when they are raised from the dead. Verse 80. God said, you are of the ones granted respite. Verse 81. Until the day of the time appointed. Verse 82. Iblis said, then I swear, by your glory, I will certainly cause them all to rebel and go astray. Verse 83. Accept your servants among them, endowed with sincerity and faith and worshiping you. Verse 84. God said, "Whatever I do and command is the truth itself, and the truth I speak." Verse 85. I will most certainly fill hell with you and your kind, and those of humankind who follow you altogether. Verse 86. Say, O messenger, I ask of you no wage for this, conveying the Qur'an to you, and I am not of those who claim to be what they are really not, and make fabrications of their own. Verse 87. This Qur'an is only a reminder with guidance and admonishment for all conscious beings. Verse 88. You will most certainly come to know what it informs of after a time, as appointed for you. Surah 39. Az-Zumar, the Companies, verse 1. This is the book being sent down in parts from God, the all-glorious with irresistible might, the all-wise. Verse 2. We have sent down to you the book with the truth, embodying it and with nothing false in it. So worship God, sincere in your faith in Him, and practicing the religion purely for His sake. Verse 3. Beware, it is to God alone that all sincere faith, worship, and obedience are due. Yet those who take apart from Him, others, angels, jinn, or humans, for guardians and confidants, to entrust their affairs to, say, we worship them for no other reason than they may bring us nearer to God. God will judge between them, between those who worship and obey God exclusively and those who associate partners with Him, concerning all on which they differ. God does not guide anyone who is a determined liar and ingrate. Verse 4. Had God willed to take to Himself a child, He could certainly have chosen whatever He willed out of all that He has created. All glorified is He, in that He is exalted above having any children. He is God, the One, the all-overwhelming, with absolute sway over all that exists. Verse 5. He has created the heavens and the earth with truth, meaningfully and for definite purpose, and on solid foundations of truth. He wraps the night around the day, and He wraps the day around the night, until one covers the other completely, and He has made the sun and the moon subservient to His command, each running its course for a term appointed by Him. Be aware, He is the all-glorious with irresistible might, able to punish those who oppose Him, the all-forgiving, who forgives those who turn to Him in repentance. Verse 6. He has created you from a single human self, and then He has made from it its mate, and He has sent down for you 8 in pairs of cattle. He creates you in the wombs of your mothers, one act and phase of creation after another, in 3 veils of darkness. This is God, your true Lord, who creates and sustains you. To Him belongs the sovereignty, absolute ownership, and dominion of everything. There is no deity but He. How, then, are you turned about to different kinds of belief? Verse 7. If you disbelieve in Him, in ingratitude, yet surely God is absolutely independent of you. He is not pleased with ingratitude and unbelief from His servants. Whereas, if you give thanks and believe, He is pleased with it from you. And no soul, as bearer of burden, bears and is made to bear the burden of another. Then, to your Lord is your return, so that He will make you understand all that you are doing and call you to account. Surely, He has full knowledge of what lies hidden in the bosoms. Verse 8. When an affliction befalls human, he calls upon his Lord, turning to Him in contrition. Then, when He bestows a favor upon him, he forgets what he prayed to Him for before, and sets up rivals to God, so that He Himself goes astray and misleads others from his way. Say to such a one, enjoy life in your unbelief for a while. You are for sure one of the companions of the fire. Verse 9. Is he who worships God devoutly, in the watches of the night prostrating and standing, who fears the hereafter and hopes for the mercy of his Lord, to be likened to that other? Say, are they ever equal, those who know and those who do not know? Only the people of discernment will reflect on the distinction between knowledge and ignorance, and obedience to God and disobedience, and be mindful. Verse 10. Say, quoting me, O my servants who believe, keep from disobedience to your Lord in reverence for him and piety. For those devoted to doing good in this world, aware that God is seeing them, there is good by way of recompense, and God's earth is vast, enabling worship. Those who are patient, persevering in adversity, worshiping God, and refraining from sins will surely be given their reward without measure. Verse 11. Say, I am commanded to worship God, sincere in faith in him, and practicing the religion purely for his sake. Verse 12. And I am commanded to be the first and foremost in being Muslim, in faith in and submission to what I am commanded to convey to you. Verse 13. Say, I fear if I disobey my Lord, the punishment of an awesome day. Verse 14. Say, I worship God, sincere in my faith in him, and practicing the religion purely for his sake. Verse 15. As for those of you who reject my call, worship then whatever you will apart from him. You are forewarned of the consequences. Say, surely the losers are those who will ruin themselves and their families on the day of resurrection. Beware. This indeed is the obvious loss. Verse 16. For them will be dark layers of the fire above them and dark layers below them. With this does God warn off his servants. O my servants, keep from disobedience to me in reverence for me and piety, and so deserve my protection. Verse 17. As for those who keep away from false deities and powers of evil, who institute patterns of faith and rule in defiance of God, away from worshiping them, and turn toward God in penitence, for them are glad tidings. So give the glad tidings to my servants. Verse 18. Who, when they hear speech, follow the best of it, in the best way possible, and even seek what is better and straighter. Those are the ones whom God has guided, and those are the ones who are people of discernment. Verse 19. Is he, against whom the word of God's punishment has been justified and realized, to be likened to one who will be rewarded with paradise? Could you then deliver one who is in the fire? Verse 20. But those who keep from disobedience to God in reverence for him and piety, for them are lofty mansions built one above another, beneath which rivers flow. This is God's promise. God never fails to fulfill his promise. Verse 21. Have you not considered that God sends down water from the sky and leads it into springs in the earth to flow therein? Then he causes to grow, with it produce of various colors. Then it withers so that you see it grow yellow. Then he makes it break and fade away. In this, for sure, is a reminder for people of discernment. Verse 22. Is he who derives lessons from God's acts in the universe, and so, whose breast God has expanded to Islam, so that he follows a light from his Lord? Is such a one to be likened to one whose heart is closed up to any remembrance of God, and therefore to Islam? So woe to those whose hearts are hardened against the remembrance of God, and who learn nothing from his signs and revelations. Those are lost in obvious error. Verse 23. God sends down in parts the best of the words as a book fully consistent in itself, and whose statements corroborate, expound, and refer to one another. The skins of those who stand in awe of their Lord tingle at the hearing and understanding of it. Then their skins and their hearts come to rest in the remembrance of God, the Qur'an. This is God's guidance, by which He guides whomever He wills. And whoever God leads astray, there is no guide for him. Verse 24. Is he who, thrown into the fire upon his face with his hands chained around his neck, tries to guard himself with his face, by trying to keep it away, from the evil punishment on the day of resurrection, to be likened to one who will be safe from the punishment that day? It will be said to the wrongdoers, taste this day what you used to earn in the world. Verse 25. Those before them denied the revelation, and so the punishment came upon them without their having perceived from where it came. Verse 26. Thus, God made them taste disgrace in the life of this world, but the punishment of the hereafter is greater. If only they had known. Verse 27. Assuredly, we have struck for humankind in this Qur'an all kinds of parables and comparisons, so that they may reflect and be mindful. Verse 28. It is a Qur'an in Arabic with no crookedness, free from any contradiction and anything offensive to truth and righteousness and reason, so that they may keep from disobedience to God in reverence for Him and piety to deserve His protection. Verse 29. God strikes a parable, a man in the employment of many partners who continuously dispute with one another, and another man employed by one person. Are those two equal in likeness? All praise and gratitude are for God, the only sovereign Lord of the creation. But most people have no knowledge of the meaning of this truth. Verse 30. You will surely die one day, and surely they, too, will die. Verse 31. Then, on the day of resurrection, you will stand in the presence of your Lord as litigants